Everybody hates me until they need me. What professions are examples of this? When I was a janitor, I got a lot of hate for knocking out my 8-hour day in 4 individual-hour-long chunks of effort. I was always available for spills and got extra work done every day but spent another 4 hours basically chilling and management not once got on my case. The other employees despised this until a customer's colostomy bag somehow ruptured in the bathroom. From that day forward, none of them gave a fuck if I was just hanging out on my phone. Proper time management. If everything is in order, you are on call. Cleaning is a form of maintenance, and maintenance needs to be on a schedule to get it all done. Salute to you. I appreciate janitors. Same idea as never trust a busy sysadmin. I used to work in infection control in a hospital. People don't realize the standards and regulations that janitorial staff, particularly in hospitals, have to maintain throughout their day. It's a lot of work and none of it is glamorous, but we literally couldn't function without you. Yeah, I was in emergency last year with my daughter. Here I was sitting there with her on my lap. I start hearing water pouring. I look around and the guy next to me is pissing himself big time. Lord knows what sad things were happening to him. I felt bad for him but got away from that giant pee puddle real fast. The janitor was there in seconds. He even helped the guy get someone to help out his situation. He cleaned it so fast and well. It smelled like lemons when he left. Bless him. The CNAs where I work think they are better than me somehow? Not all of them. Like, you clean poo off people, I clean poo off of surfaces. Not a huge difference there, but still I am lesser. It's crazy to me that people treat janitors poorly. You're taking care of something that I really don't want to do but would otherwise need to do if you weren't there. I always try to be nice and say hey to the janitors I see a lot. Give them the occasional thank you. Because they deserve it more. Literally this. People need to check themselves. Cleaning up a ruptured colostomy bag warrants for hours off though, you're a hero mate. I have so much respect for janitors etc. They kept my old apartment building spotless and were super friendly. Yeah, that's an underappreciated job and it's also not a bad gig aside from the occasional exploded colostomy bag. If you compare it to the stress of other jobs like fast food or retail, being a janitor probably seems like a relaxing paradise. Just quietly mop the floor and listen to music or an audiobook. You probably do a daily cleaning checklist and if an emergency cleaning situation happens the people who call you probably think you're a hero. Lawyers and mechanics. You want to have a good one of each, but you never want to have to call either of them. Finding a good mechanic will 99% of the time save you the most money out of most of these answers. Finding one that's skilled, but doesn't rip you off is a fucking godsend. I didn't realize this until I married someone whose father is a mechanic. The amount of bullshit I no longer deal with is unbelievable. If you find a good mechanic, don't piss them off nickel and diming them. My friends think I'm crazy for driving to a mechanic that's 45 minutes away, but this shop has only done me good. Brought my car in for a suspected problem, they found no issues, never charged me. Another time, car was having major issues, after a day at the shop, mechanic called me and just straight up told me the $3,000 it would cost to repair the car would be better off on a down payment, instead of repairs that may or may not fix the issue. I like they pay their staff by the hour too. Brought my car in for a suspected problem, they found no issues, never charged me. OMG, this comment brought to mind something that happened a few years ago. I thought the car was leaking a weird color antifreeze, it was deer pee on the snowy driveway rolling on the floor laughing. Thankfully, the car guy told us nothing was wrong with the car. The U.S. Coast Guard for fishermen and boaters. Usually there's a pretty good working relationship between them, but some hate the Coast Guard for the various inspections they do. But the USCG is also the ones who will come out there in a storm to rescue them. Today I learned people hate the Coast Guard. They're like military police, and you don't have rights on the water like you do on land with normal police. They're generally good and responsible, but I also understand why people have negative feelings toward them. You don't have rights on the water like you do on land with normal police. I'm not from the USA, could you elaborate, please? The U.S. Constitution, well, the Fourth Amendment to it, protects Americans, or any person in the United States, against unreasonable search. It's why police have to obtain a warrant before entering your house. The exception to this is the Coast Guard and searching your boat. The USCG can search any boat in U.S. waters, and any U.S.-flagged vessel anywhere in the world, at any time they please, for any reason. All that said, I've had nothing but pleasant encounters with the Coast Guard, though I'm Canadian and my boat flies a Canadian flag. I'm always a conscientious/safety-oriented boater, so never have issues. If you're a U.S.-flagged, registered vessel, the U.S. Coast Guard can board, search you anywhere on Earth. That's why you keep a Liechtenstein flag and fly that when you're in international waters. You are very unlikely to run into a Liechtensteinian Coast Guard vessel anywhere, considering they are landlocked. On the other hand, they're unlikely to believe that you are a Liechtensteinian boat, and will board you until they confirm your identity. That sounds like an act of war against my home country of Liechtenstein. Police can't stop you while driving and make you demonstrate that your seatbelts are installed, your headlights and brake lights work, and your wipers are new. The Coast Guard can stop a boat and make the operator demonstrate it had all the required safety gear like flotation vests, fire extinguishers, positional lights, etc. Several people have taken this post to mean I am against the CG doing this. I'm not, I'm just detailing how CG stoppages are different from what police can do with a private driver. First boots on the ground in Haiti in 2010 after the earthquake hit? Coast Guard. When Katrina hit New Orleans and it was discovered that the FEMA director had no emergency management experience, who did Bush put in charge of search and rescue and recovery efforts? Thad Allen, USCG. Who you gonna call if there's an oil spill? Coast Guard. And all of the stuff we do on a daily basis, we do it all with a fraction of the DoD budget. Don't forget the fact that they piloted most of the landing craft in the Pacific Theater in WW2, and the 9/11 rescue. And, one of the best military movies ever, Never Let Go. Sorry, the movie is called The Guardian. Never Let Go is the most famous song from it. Plastic surgeons. My uncle is a plastic surgeon and he does only reconstructive stuff, fixing burn victims' faces and stuff like that. But when people ask him what kind of doctor he is and he says plastic surgeon, they usually kinda scoff. It is often forgotten, but plastic, cosmetic surgery got a big start in the aftermath of World War I. There were plenty of vets with horrible disfigurements that were met with horror and revulsion returning to civilian life. The operations they took to repair, replace lost jaws, eyes, bones, etc. were attempts to let these vets able to enjoy some normalcy in society. Yeah, there are before and after pictures out there of early plastic surgeries, and it's genuinely amazing to see what the pioneers of that discipline were actually capable of, considering the tools that they had to work with, and the fact that they were just kind of figuring it out as they went along. I've had a few moles removed by various dermatologists. Huge, unsightly scars, which is fine because they were on my arm/torso, places where no one sees, doesn't matter what they look like. But I also had this big one right on my forehead and I wanted to get rid of it just because of how unsightly it was. I went to a plastic surgeon. Cost me $800. There is absolutely nothing there. Nothing. I guess maybe if I wrinkle my forehead you can see a tiny line there, but you wouldn't even notice it. I was very pleased. Note, yes, I had it checked by my dermatologist before I got it removed. He said it wasn't a mole to worry about and removing it would just be cosmetic. I've had various moles removed and biopsied. The one on my face was removed by a plastic surgeon. No scar. The doctor who removed a dermoid cyst from my daughter's face near her eye? He was the only doctor in our city who would do it. He was also a plastic surgeon. She has no scar from it. Amen. My wife was hit by a drunk while riding her bike when she was 14, they had to completely rebuild her face. She said that it took her years to recognize herself in the mirror. She only has a couple of small scars, I can only see one. At 58, she looks very much like that 18 years old I fell in love with in college. We dated in college, went out separate ways, reconnected in 2017, married 2 years ago. Without the surgeries, she would have been terribly disfigured and she would have hidden away from the world. With the reconstruction, she went to college, served in the Peace Corps, and had a great career. Plus, it is hard to let someone love you when you don't love yourself. Thanks to her plastic surgeons. Hit return too soon. I agree. I'm not into cosmetic surgery at all, to each their own. But I did go see a doc that specialized in reconstructive surgery after being in a really bad accident that left a very noticeable scar over more than a quarter of my face. I ended up not having any procedures done, but it did make me realize plastic surgery isn't all about getting lip injections or breast augmentation. It can often be about making someone look and feel normal again so they can function in society without trauma and anxiety. Docs like your Uncle rock. It's just like the Seinfeld episode where Jerry is mean to a dermatologist, pimple popper, MD, and then realizes that the guy also is dealing with skin cancer. Plastic surgeons do purely cosmetic stuff, i.e., I want to look better, but they also are doing cosmetic/reconstructive stuff for people who have been badly injured/maimed/ etc., i.e., I just want to look like myself again. There is also a whole subspecialty that only does hand surgeries that have nothing to do with cosmetics at all. Lawyer here. The expectation that because you are a lawyer you know everything about every law everywhere. In reality, most lawyers are highly specialized. I thought you guys all just put on a nice suit, sat back in your chair and answered any question with "it depends." My lawyer actually charges me $100 every email, even if it's just one word, still $100. IT, not the clown. Yep, you get everything in order and pretty much humming along. They say, "What are we paying you for if you are just sitting there?" Shit goes haywire. They say, "What are we paying you for if you can't keep the stuff from breaking?" I tell people that what you want is to see your IT people sitting around doing nothing. When you see them scramble, then worry. Pretty much. They're there to set things up and keep them running smoothly so shit doesn't hit the fan, and to sort things out when it inevitably does anyway. The higher the ratio of them doing nothing to them working hectically, the better they are. I worked with a programmer that explained his position to me. He was on a call about a critical app that went down. He was super calm the whole time while the managers are all freaking out. They asked him how long it would take him to come up with a fix. He pretended to do math in his head and said maybe 2 weeks. Everyone thanked him and the call ended. He sat back and put his feet on his desk. I asked him, "Isn't that fix urgent?" He says yes, which is why I told them months ago we were going to need it, but they took all our resources and had us focus on other things. I already made this fix on my own time because I was worried about this, but they can wait 2 weeks. If I give it to them now, they won't have learned anything. Not only that, but next time there's a fix that's needed they'll expect an immediate resolution, and he'll look incompetent despite that not being true. Dentists for sure. I'm a dentist for kids. I am hated by parents and children. I had only a few fillings done as a child, and it was fine. But I didn't realize how much fear and anxiety was in the world for dentists. It wears you down after a while, and a lot of dentists get burned out because no one appreciates you and how hard of a job it is. You kind of have to give no fucks at a certain point because people need you, but then you have to hear shit like, hey, good thing I'm getting this filling today, so you can make your boat payment, when in actuality, you are getting paid $182 for that filling on a child while the mother is crying in the corner in worry, which barely pays the overhead of running a practice, while you have $500,000 in student loans. You do a good job, and then the parent says, let's get out of this horrible place. Adults say to me, I hate the dentist, and I say, well, I am a pretty nice person, and then they say, oh not you, just I hate everything you do. The world is less tolerant of discomfort, and I think dentists need to use more sedation for treatment. But then people won't want to pay $500 for it. So, they will still hate us. I'm so sorry. I used to be an assistant and I felt so bad for my dentist. It's hard when 90% of people you see say, oh I hate dentists/coming here. I hope you have some mental health support if you keep it, it's a touch job. My dentist always had success with repeat patients by letting them choose the music, movies, and working out hand signals. If you put your hand up, I will stop. If you need more suction because the water's pooling, point at your mouth and my assistant will get it. He also let people hold their own little suction tube while I used the big suction, to help them feel like they have more control. Not sure if this would all work for kids, but over time it really helped build a positive experience and relationship with the returning patients. And patients did return costs, they'd never had that kind of experience at the dentist. All the trades guys. They're so expensive. Until that plumber shows up at 2 a.m. to prevent the sewage backup. Or the electrician that fixes an overloaded breaker panel, preventing a fire. Or the carpenter who builds the room for your toddler so you can get some sleep and maybe some sexy time. Definitely tradesmen. The plumber who came to my house at midnight on Christmas Eve to stop the waterfall of water gushing into my basement was worth every one of those several $100s I paid him. Lawyer is going to be the most common answer to this question by far. But I suppose any licensed service provider could fall into this category, given the right context. Plumbers are another good example. Everyone thinks they're scum and crooks until the washing machine breaks down. Electricians, contractors, locksmiths, etc. They all fit this mold. Unless you work with them daily, you're not going to be seeing them very often. And you're only seeing them when there's a problem, so you're primed to be upset by the time they even show up. Psychologically, you associate the plumbing issue with the plumber, when ironically, the plumber is there to fix it. Everyone wants to shoot the messenger. IT people and network security professionals are another classic example of this effect. I scrolled a long time and didn't find it. Fast food workers. They're the butt of every demeaning comment about a lack of achievement or the reason why minimum wage shouldn't be raised blah blah blah. But those people get real quiet once they're ordering their Big Mac. It wasn't fast food, but was still a cashier job. Had a woman point at me and tell her kid that if he didn't go to college, he'd end up like me working at a dead-end job. I was 17 and in high school, hadn't even had the chance to go to college yet. A customer was once pissed at us for screwing up his order, and, exasperated, exclaimed, I guess that's why you work here, huh? I responded with I'm 16, which is not half as clever as I wish I had been in retrospect, but still was enough to shut him down a bit. Now looking back decades later, I really hope that asshole reconsidered his anger. I can't imagine screaming at teenage kids because I'm angry that my fries are lukewarm. Thanks for watching this video. Hit the bell next to subscribe so you never miss a video. Like, comment and subscribe if you are new on the channel.